Ready to learn some new mind-blowing and cool facts? That's exactly what you'll find in this video. Gorgonzola is one of the oldest known blue cheeses. Its origins can be traced back to around 879 AD in the Lombardy region of Italy. Did you know that asphalt is actually one of the most recycled materials in the United States? It's true. Over 99% of asphalt pavement is recycled, which is way more than materials like aluminum. Sloths keep their stomach full because their diet is not very nutritious. If their body temperature drops too low, the bacteria responsible for the food process will slow down or disrupt the digestive process. Over time, could result in malnutrition despite having food in the stomach. They also can poop up to 30% of their body weight in a single bowel movement. Lego is known for its high quality. In fact, only about 18 out of every million pieces are defective. That means out of the billions of Legos made each year, only a tiny fraction are faulty. It's like finding 39.6 Titanic sets with a defective piece among all the sets produced. Influenza is named for the Italian word for influence. People initially believed that the effects of the flu were a result of the body being influenced by the stars or other celestial bodies. In many fiddler crab species, males are asymmetrical with one claw being much larger than the other. When the large claw is lost, it often regenerates as a smaller claw, while the existing small claw gradually grows to become the new large claw over several molt cycles. However, this process can vary among different fiddler crab species. When you think of a national park, you might picture towering trees and breathtaking landscapes. But Wind Cave National Park is a bit different. It's famous for its vast underground cave system, which was actually the first cave to be protected as a national park back in 1903. Oxpeckers, which are small birds found in Africa, have a complex relationship with larger animals like antelopes and wildebeests. Initially, they were thought to be beneficial because they eat ticks and other parasites off their hosts, helping to keep them clean. However, research has shown that oxpeckers can also be quite harmful. They often pick at the wounds of their hosts, opening them up further and sometimes even feeding on the blood. This behavior classifies them as parasitic rather than purely symbiotic, as they can cause harm to the animals they are supposed to help. So, while they may provide some benefits by removing ticks, their tendency to open wounds and consume blood makes their relationship with their hosts more complicated. Did you know that Spain has been living in the wrong time zone for over 70 years? It all started during World War II when dictator Francisco Franco decided to align Spain's clocks with Nazi Germany. This change was never reversed, even after Franco's death and the end of the war. As a result, Spain, which is located geographically in the same time zone as Portugal and the UK, operates an hour ahead. The Dorcas gazelle has a fascinating adaptation that allows it to survive in arid environments. Instead of urinating in the typical liquid form, it concentrates its urine into a solid pellet. This unique adaptation helps the gazelle conserve water, which is crucial for survival in their dry habitats. By minimizing water loss, the Dorcas gazelle can thrive even in conditions where water is scarce. So, while it technically does pee, the process is highly efficient and different from what most animals do. The Suez Canal has allowed invasive species, including various fish, to move from the Red Sea into the Mediterranean Sea. This phenomenon is often referred to as Lessepian migration, named after Ferdinand de Lesseps, the engineer behind the canal. This influx of new species has led to competition for food and habitat, displacing some local fish and disrupting the existing ecosystems. The rise in water temperature from climate change also exacerbates these issues, further impacting the native species. As a result, the Mediterranean's biodiversity and ecological balance have been significantly affected. When Steve Irwin was killed in a Stingray attack in 2006, it was one of only a handful of reported fatalities from stingrays in Australia since 1945. Only 1 to 2 fatal stingray attacks are reported each year worldwide. Lectin, a protein found in many plant foods, including red kidney beans, can cause significant health problems when consumed raw or undercooked. But what's the cause of it? Lectin molecules bind to specific carbohydrate structures on the surface of intestinal cells. This binding can disrupt the normal functioning of these cells. The binding of lectin to intestinal cells can trigger an inflammatory response. This inflammation can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. That metallic smell on coins doesn't come from metal. It's caused by a chemical reaction between oils on our skin and the metal of the coin. When we touch coins, the natural oils and sweat on our skin react with the iron and other metals in the coin. This reaction produces organic compounds called aldehydes and ketones. These compounds are what we actually smell. Did you know that the phosphorus used in fertilizers for food production is actually a non-renewable resource, and we could eventually run out? It comes from phosphate rock, which takes millions of years to form, and some experts predict that we might face shortages within the next century. Since phosphorus is essential for plant growth, and there's no substitute, this raises concerns about the future of agriculture. The name zebra comes from the Old Portuguese word zevra, which means wild ass. This word likely traces back to the Latin equiferus, meaning wild horse. Over time, equiferus evolved into the Portuguese ezebro or zebro, which referred to a legendary wild horse-like animal found in the Iberian Peninsula during the Middle Ages. And of course, during the Age of Discovery, the Portuguese explorers played a huge role in introducing the world to animals like the zebra, which helped popularize the term. Zebras are actually black with white stripes. They are black as early embryos, then develop the white stripes. The pattern of stripes is determined by how the pigment cells, melanocytes, are distributed, and in the areas that become white, the melanocytes simply don't produce pigment. Research has shown that chewing gum can help reduce the frequency of earworms or songs stuck in your head. This is due to a phenomenon called irrelevant subvocalization, which is the act of silently repeating words or phrases in your head. Chewing gum can interfere with this process, potentially reducing the likelihood of unwanted thoughts, including those related to songs. Honey badgers are known for their aggressive behavior and their ability to raid beehives. When threatened or confronted by bees, they can emit a foul-smelling secretion from their anal glands. This secretion is both irritating and suffocating to bees, causing them to flee the hive. This allows the honey badger to easily access the honey and larvae inside. Honey badgers have thick skin and are relatively resistant to bee stings, making them well adapted for this type of predation. Did you know about the Loudness War? It was a trend that began in the 1980s and peaked in the early 2000s, where music producers and broadcasters kept raising the volume levels of albums and radio stations. This led to so many complaints from consumers that U.S. lawmakers eventually passed the Calm Act, which set limits on how loud broadcasts could be. Ever wondered why room temperature coffee seems so unappetizing compared to its hot or iced counterparts? It turns out our taste buds have a temperature preference. Our taste receptors are most sensitive to flavors within a specific temperature range, roughly between 68 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 to 35 degrees Celsius. That's why room temperature coffee often tastes more bitter and less enjoyable than its hot or iced counterparts. There have been reports of Goliath groupers exhibiting unusual behavior, such as swimming in circles until they die, in recent years. Scientists have been investigating the cause of this phenomenon and have linked it to the ingestion of toxic algae. The algae, known as Carenia brevis, produces toxins that can lead to neurological problems that cause disorientation and ultimately death. Botulinum toxin, commonly known as Botox, is actually the most toxic substance on the planet. Just 1 pound of it could theoretically kill millions of people. However, people who get Botox injections don't need to worry because the amount used in these procedures is 1,000 times lower than the lethal dose. Getting overwhelmed by too much information every day can lead to what's known as busy life syndrome. This condition results in forgetfulness and difficulty concentrating, often stemming from our hectic lives filled with constant information overload from the devices we use daily. When you're engaged in something stimulating, like an exciting show, your brain is active and alert. But when you find yourself in a dull or uninteresting situation, like a monotonous work task, your brain may start to release adenosine, a chemical that promotes sleepiness. Adenosine accumulates in the brain when you're awake and contributes to the feeling of sleepiness when it binds to its receptors. So, being bored at work can lead to that sudden wave of tiredness, despite getting enough sleep the night before. Ever noticed how your sweat seems to have a stronger odor when you're feeling anxious? It's not just in your head. When we're under stress, our bodies produce more sweat from our apocrine glands. This type of sweat is thicker and contains more proteins, making it a breeding ground for odor-causing bacteria. These bacteria break down the proteins, creating the unpleasant smell we associate with nervous sweat. American scientists Victor Ambros and Gary Ruvkun received the Nobel Prize in Medicine for discovering microRNA, small cellular on-off switches that control gene expression. Before this discovery, the idea that small non-coding RNAs like microRNAs could play a crucial role in gene regulation wasn't even considered. Since microRNAs don't code for proteins, they were largely overlooked. This breakthrough revolutionized our understanding of how genes are regulated and has significant implications for fields like cancer research, where controlling cell growth is vital. Due to lower air pressure on the summit of Mount Everest, water boils at about 158 degrees Fahrenheit or 70 degrees Celsius, making it challenging to cook an egg properly. Wow, what a journey through mind-blowing discoveries. We've just scratched the surface of these incredible facts. Now it's your turn. Which one left you speechless? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this video blew your mind, smash that like button and hit subscribe to join our community of curious explorers. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.